Well, good afternoon, YouTube. It is now 4 o'clock on 19th of February 2025. Like you, I have seen our supposedly esteemed leader, Keir Starmer, seriously float the idea of sending British troops to go and peacekeep in Ukraine. If that's what's necessary, is what he said. That isn't necessary. Like a lot of people on here know, I'm a former soldier. Soldiers are not trained to peacekeep, they're trained to fight aggressively. I'll give you an example as to why soldiers being peacekeepers doesn't work. I'll give you two examples why, actually. The first one, although I was never there when it happened, the Tonkin Gulf incident of 1964. That's effectively what brought the Americans in to fight Vietnam properly. They had already been there for a couple of years, peacekeeping up until that point, and then the Tonkin Gulf incident kicks off. That starts everything. And that's how everything in Vietnam unfolded. And then skip forward about 19 or so years later, at the end of Vietnam, so 19 or so years later, you're looking probably not about 18 years later, sorry, you're looking at 1993, October 1993, Operation Gothic Serpent. Again, this is where the Americans had gone in. They'd actually been peacekeeping with the Malaysians and the Pakistanis. But what had actually happened was that this particular mission, the Americans had got wind of the fact that they wanted to capture someone. I think it was, what's his name? Mohammed Farah Adid or something like that. I know that he was like the big head honcho at the time. They were trying to find someone or him around those sort of things. What effectively should have taken no more than a 15-minute mission ended up taking 17 hours. And I can remember as an 8-year-old child in 1993, sitting watching a 6 p.m. evening bulletin on the news, watching everything going on, because they had a live broadcast from Mogadishu at the time. You'd be lucky to get one now, but they did then. And I saw everything unfold. I really did. And then in 2001, we had the film Black Hawk Down that explained everything so brilliantly to someone who at the time was a 16-year-old person like myself. It explained everything so beautifully that I didn't understand back when I was an 8-year-old kid. Now here's something I want to actually point out, if I may. British troops to peacekeep in Ukraine. Yeah, good luck with that. We don't have an armed forces that's worth that anymore. We have, I think, maybe 50,000 troops in our army, maybe 75,000 troops. When I was serving, we had just under 365,000 troops. That was way back 20 years ago. So, you're looking like a kid in his early 20s, me. We had quite a large number back then. We don't have that anymore. We've now got one of the smallest armies in Europe, in the world, actually. We've got the smallest European army since the Crimean War, I think. No, since the Napoleonic period. And, no, it's not going to work. Even Putin has said that he will not accept NATO nations from any flag of NATO to go and peacekeep, because he'll see that as a violation of what's going on, and rightly so. He will probably see that this is an escalation, and will probably take it the next step. He's trying to simply defend his country. Before anyone says anything, no, I am not a Putin apologist. I simply think this war is unnecessary. I do think, however, that Zelensky is playing the crowd. He's trying to make us feel sorry for him so we can give him all of this money, all this equipment that we so desperately need, that the United States so desperately needs. Keep in mind that I think it was about, 5 million or something like that has gone missing. So, yeah, the 32 billion that they've pumped in, I think 5 million or something like that has gone missing. So make of that what you will. Something tells me it's gone into someone's back pocket. Yeah, it's not going to work. It never would. You want peacekeepers, look to the police, or train a force up that's capable of doing it, because it won't work for us. Another thing is, I don't want to see British men and women going off to fight someone else's battle. That's not even our front door. Why are we defending another country, stating that this is in our interest? No, it isn't. There's nothing out there for us. It's on the other side of Europe. Let the Ukrainians deal with it. It's on their soil. I mean, would they come running to our aid if we were invaded? No. I don't think the French or the Germans would bother coming to our aid. I think the only nation that would actually bother helping us out would be the United States, because they understand us through language, through culture, through trade, through all those sort of different things. They understand us. Through a historic and blood tie, they understand us. France doesn't really understand us. The Germans don't really understand us. Italy doesn't understand us. Spain doesn't understand us. Eastern European countries do not understand the West. We don't really understand them, and yet here they are in NATO. NATO was originally meant to end in Germany. It wasn't supposed to go further than that. And this is probably where Putin has decided, you know what, I'm getting a little bit suspicious of what NATO's doing, so keep over there, or I start this war, to try and show you that I'm kind of frightened here. Again, I'm not a Putin apologist. I simply want the British people to be defended. I want us to have the equipment we need, paid for the money that we rightly pay these people. Unfortunately, the equipment that we've got is substandard, and we're sending all the best equipment out to go fight a war that has nothing to do with us. This is not going to end well. If we end up sending British troops out there, I don't think there's going to be anyone else in Europe that's actually going to bother helping us. The French have suggested they might do, but I don't think they really will. Olaf Scholz from Germany, he's not interested in the idea. Macron, he's just as warmongering as Keir Stalin is. The only one out of all the Western nations that has actually got any sense about this is Donald Trump. No, let's get this deal sorted. Let's sort out a peace deal. Let's make it fairer for everyone. That way the Americans don't lose any lives. That way we could have, that way no one else needs to lose any lives. And I'll tell you something else. Back in 2022, there was actually a peace deal that came through, but Boris Johnson got his hands on it and said, no, you don't need to make this peace deal. He wants a bloody war. That's what he's doing. All these European nations are so desperate for another world war. They really are. They think that peacekeeping is going to be the way to do it. That's going to be the back door of getting us into another world war. It really is. Start with peacekeeping. It won't work. Peacekeeping never works. I think if this does happen, that we'll be at war by September, at least. At least. Anyway, that's just my theory and my thoughts on the matter. If you agree with me, then brilliant. If you only partially agree or disagree entirely with me, again, brilliant. Let me know where you disagree. And I guarantee you, I will speak to you in a very polite manner about this. You know, that's what the comment section is for. Let me know. If you like what I've got to say, give me a like, give me a share, subscribe if you want, because it's not going to cost you one single penny, and it'll help my algorithm move up. So yeah, if you've got any questions or anything like that, any little queries about what I've said today, if you agree with me, brilliant. If you don't, brilliant. Give us a like, give us a share, and get this out there. Until then, see you again.